Hello and welcome to Rajya Sabha Television. I am Vishal Dahiya and you're watching our special show Reset India. Now, health infrastructure is an important indicator to go ahead and find out how the healthcare services in a country work and also the welfare mechanism in that particular nation. One very important aspect in the health infrastructure is the affordable healthcare. Now, we're going to look at all these aspects. We're going to discuss and analyze what exactly has been done as far as these areas are concerned in India and what more needs to be done in terms of resetting or revitalizing the entire sector and the infrastructure, obviously. But before we do that, let me first take you through some key figures and let's understand with these figures as to what exactly is the scenario. Let's first start with how much money is being spent as far as healthcare is concerned vis-a-vis the GDP. Now, if we look at our screens, then the public expenditure on health in India in 2019-20 was 1.6%. In 2018-19, it was 1.5%. 2017-18, 1.4%. And 2016-17, again 1.4%. In 2015-16, it was 1.3%, and this was as part of the percentage of the GDP. Now, obviously, the target has been to raise it to 2.5%. Ayushman Bharat scheme is one of the important schemes when we are looking at what the government has done so far. And then, if you look at all these aspects, this is aimed at setting up health and wellness centers all across. Also, it provides comprehensive primary health care. We've seen how this particular scheme works in various areas. Aimed at setting up health and wellness. As I was saying earlier, clearly this is one particular scheme which seems to have done a lot of wonders, and we've seen how the coverage has started expanding in the last few months. If you go across to a few other schemes, then we look at the PM Jan Arogya Yojana as well. Now, this scheme provides health cover of rupees 5 lakh per year. Also, PMJAY provides health care to around 10.74 crore poor and vulnerable families. Obviously, these two are schemes which are targeted to try and look at that affordable healthcare aspect which I was referring to earlier when we look at the health infrastructure. Then there are another important government policy which is there in place, and that is Swasthya Suraksha Yojana. Now, tertiary healthcare capacity in medical education, research and clinical care is the focus area here, and correcting regional imbalances in availability of tertiary healthcare services. That is seemingly, again, a very important aspect which obviously we'll try and analyze during the course of the discussion. Let's also take a look at another very important aspect when we talk about the healthcare facilities or healthcare policies specifically, that is National Health Mission. Now, National Health Mission, if we look at, then it provides accessible, affordable, quality healthcare. That's what the aim says, and it also provides a number of free services, obviously in consultation along with the state government. It says for maternal, child and adolescent health and family planning as well. Then also free drugs and free diagnostic service initiatives have also been taken under National Health Mission. Again, a very key and critical important area there. In terms of having, a health infrastructure, 21 new AIIMS have also been sanctioned so far, and 157 government medical colleges have also been sanctioned by upgrading the district hospitals. So these are some areas, certain areas, when we look at what exactly has the government done so far. We'll try and understand all these aspects. We'll also try and look for the areas which need a bit of a push there, sort of a resetting, which we have been calling in terms of looking at the entire sector and specifically with the affordable healthcare there. So let me introduce the guests now. Let me bring in the guests here. We have a very distinguished panel of experts today joining us. Dr. Praveen Gedam is joining us. He's the additional CEO of National Health Authority, the authority which is responsible for one of those schemes that, where I was talking about, PMJAY. Also, we have Mr. Gautam Khanna. He's the co-chair of FICCI Health Services Committee and the CEO of PD Hinduja Hospital as well. We're also joined by Professor K. Srinath Reddy, President of Public Health Foundation of India. Welcome, all of you gentlemen, and thank you so much for joining us on Rajya Sabha Television here. A very key, critical, important segment which we are discussing. Let me start with Dr. Gedam here. Dr. Gedam, I gave some figures out here. I mentioned certain policies which are, the key policies when we look at the healthcare. But apart from them, what exactly is happening when we are talking about the healthcare infrastructure part in India?
See, in run up to the budget which we are going to have in maybe a month or two, it is important to understand that this year has been a watershed year in the history of public health in this century. And you already discussed increasing trend of expenditure on the health as a percentage of GDP, but this increase is not enough or not as per expectations. We certainly want to spend more, and the importance of health was never realized more than what we are realizing or witnessing right now. So yes, health is going to be the key, and it has been the key impact as far as government is concerned. When we talk about affordable healthcare, we have to understand the specific scenario in India. We have a very strong private sector which we cannot neglect, and we certainly want to strengthen the public health sector, which is going to take some time, and therefore we may reach absolute perfection of public health infrastructure whenever it may be, but we have to take private health sector along, and this is where the flagship program like Ayushman Bharat comes into play, which leverages the capacities and of a private sector for those who are not in a position to pay for their own treatment. So this Ayushman Bharat providing treatment to 10 crore families in India, the bottom 40% of India, is a very important initiative of government which is expanding its footprint all over the country. That is
Okay.
number one. Secondly, at the same time, you rightly pointed out 21 AIMS is just this week. Plus, there are so many health and wellness centers which are coming up. So basically, we are augmenting the infrastructure of public health side on the field. This has to be correspondingly. You have to have correspondingly increasing number of doctors and paramedics coming out of the training institutions, and at the same time programs like the National Health Mission which will fund the specific services at these particular places. So you have to have a holistic approach when you say an area which is as broad as affordable healthcare, and I'm happy to share that government is working proactively in that direction.
Okay.
It is also being supplemented by additional initiatives. For example, we had a surge in telemedicine consultation, particularly in post-COVID scenario, and this was facilitated by certain regulatory relaxations. And Honorable Prime Minister announced the National Digital Health Mission recently during his Independence Day address, which will further facilitate the access to affordable healthcare. So it is very difficult to pinpoint a specific intervention. It is a
Okay.
multi-dimensional issue which has to be focused from so many angles, and government is working towards
Okay.
that affordable and quality and accessible healthcare.
Okay, okay, definitely. We'll talk about those focus areas based on what Professor Reddy and Mr. Khanna has to say. Let me bring in these two gentlemen here as well into the discussion. Let me start with you, Mr. Khanna, since you represent the private sector which Mr. Dr. Gedam was referring to, and specifically, if you look at from your perspective. The assessment of the landscape of health infrastructure with a focus on the affordable healthcare. Where do we stand today?
So, thank you for bringing me on the show. And as Dr. Gadam just mentioned, that the 2020 COVID pandemic, it actually exposed the inadequacy of the health infrastructure in the country, whether it was public or private. And so one, we found out that it is not adequate enough for the country's citizens. Second is the affordability. And I want to go to the root of affordable because people talk about affordable healthcare. Now, if you have a scarcity, if you have scarcity in anything, it is very difficult to make the whole ecosystem affordable. So, and if you look at the inadequacy for number of beds, I mean, we have around 1 bed per 1,000 population. We have less than a doctor per 1,000 population. Look at specialists, look at oncologists. We have 0.01 per 1,000, that a population, while the Western countries will probably have 4 or 5 times that. A pediatrician is 0.01 per 1,000, which is like 15-20 times more in the West. An orthopedic surgeon will be 0.01, and Dr. Gadam is an orthopedic surgeon, so he knows what I'm talking about. No, sorry, I'm mistaken. And it's around 8-9 times in the future in the Western countries. So the issue of shortage of around 2 million doctors in the country, around 4 million nurses, and then you have public physical infrastructure shortage, there will be an issue of affordability. So to first ensure affordability, you need to increase the infrastructure, and then we talk about the issue of ability to pay, which Dr. Gadam very nicely put, that if when earlier we had maybe some less than 20% people who were insured, but after PMJAY and other government schemes, this year we are looking to around 50% of the people who will be covered under some kind of an insurance scheme. So now suddenly they have an ability to pay. So although they may not pay the premium charge, but at least they are able to afford some kind of healthcare. I think the combination of capacity increase with physical infrastructure investment, plus the increase in talent availability with doctors, nurses, specialists, and the ability to pay through the insurance schemes will really help the affordable healthcare infrastructure. And if I can just take a minute more, that in the budget which is coming in the next few weeks, one of the things we are hoping is that since the government is now and all the stakeholders recognize the importance of health, the investment in capital expenses for health infrastructure, for example, whatever we have spent on COVID for CapEx, or whatever we are spending on other infrastructure, will be allowed maybe 150% deduction, which used to be earlier.
Okay.
And suppose we want to set up the diagnostic infrastructure across the country, maybe some additional depreciation, maybe 6% something, for infrastructure. For skilling, if the government can allow, say, whatever expenses are made by the hospitals on skilling of nurses, paramedics, and maybe DNB doctors, the stipend paid to them, maybe some, 150%, 50%, whatever. So that will give an incentive. And one last thing before I say that the pandemic also showed us the benefit of technology and of video consultation, which really helped the population of the country.
Okay.
So going forward, I think we need to capitalize on the digital initiative of the India and put teleconsultation along with the home care monitoring. If government can give some incentive and we can think of a policy around that will really help.
Okay.
In a country like India, there is no one answer. I think multiple answers have to be tried at multiple points.
Definitely.
And hopefully that will address some of this.
Definitely, Mr. Khanna. It has to be a multi-pronged strategy. But those are some few interesting suggestions which are coming from you, specifically with respect to the use of telemedicine technology as well. Let me also bring in, Professor Srinath Reddy before I go back to Dr. Gadam on those suggestions. Professor Reddy, from your perspective, sir, what are the major roadblocks or hindrances to achieve that target of affordable healthcare for all in this country?
Well, I agree with most of what has been said before. But let me say that if you're really trying to reduce out-of-pocket expenditure, which is still around 60% in India, you have to recognize that about 2/3 of that out-of-pocket expenditure comes from outpatient care and from expenditure on medicines. While hospitalized care does provide a great deal of relief to people in dire distress and does have an impact to some extent on catastrophic health expenditure, much of the access and affordability comes from primary health care and from outpatient care. Unless those elements are strongly reinforced, we are going to have a skyscraper standing on a sandy foundation. We cannot really have that.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore, we are not only looking at health and wellness centers, which are important, of course, but also other elements of primary health care, like primary health centers, community health centers, and then district hospitals for secondary care and some elements of tertiary care, and medical college hospitals being strengthened. If you only focus on health and wellness centers at one end and AIIMS-like institutions at the other end and have missing elements in the middle, you're never going to have a steady structure. So you require to actually strengthen at all levels with infrastructure, equipment, and most importantly, multi-layered, multi-skilled health workforce, which
Okay.
is absolutely critical. We need certainly specialist doctors, but we also need basic doctors, we need nurses, we need a variety of allied health professionals, and all of these require investment from the government, and that's why we need a lot more front-end spending, even if the health system has to acquire the capacity to adequately absorb and utilize the increased funding that is coming. So we do require each and every one of these elements. Now, we have spoken of telemedicine. It is certainly a great advance and is necessary. But if there is nobody at the front end to actually take the advice and actually deliver the care that the specialist is giving via telemedicine, then telemedicine is a failure. So you cannot afford to neglect the frontline strengthening aspect, especially in primary health care. You need to bring in family medicine also in a strong way. So there are a number of elements that are currently missing that need to be strengthened apart from hospitalized care.
Okay. Apart from hospitalized care, those are the key points and definitely very important ones. That brings me to you, Dr. Gadam, again. Quite a number of suggestions also coming in and quite a number of points which have been identified both by Mr. Khanna and Professor Reddy there in terms of where the focus needs to be. So what exactly is happening as far as these areas are concerned? Specifically, if you're looking at, multi-layered, skilled assets being put in place, and also a holistic view, not only just creating infrastructure at primary or just at secondary or just at tertiary level, sort of a linkage there, and then use of technology also, linkage and technology, obviously, and looking at it from the point of view of the beneficiaries.
Yeah, I totally agree with what my co-panelists have just stated. It has to be a multi-pronged approach. You started introduction with the construction of 21 AIIMS in India, but these will take care of tertiary and quaternary cases. We cannot have cases of common cold or routine immunization being done in top centers, and it obviously leads to absolutely inefficient utilization of talent. We can't have MD and DM and MCH kind of doctors treating basic diseases. We have to have proper referral mechanism, and that will start with a very robust primary healthcare system, not only in government but also involving the private sector.
Okay.
And one pillar of Ayushman Bharat, that is HWC, coupled with what we used to call PHCs and subcenters, it caters to that. But obviously, it is not only about infrastructure, but at the same time, we also discussed about the doctor population ratio, bed population ratio, nurses, paramedic population ratio. These are far from being satisfactory compared to what are the standards. So it has to also be coupled with, addition of civil infrastructure has to be coupled with adequate equipment, supply of medicines, drug, and then ramping up the capacities of talent, increasing the number, and as I told, efficient utilization of the talent.
Okay.
A person of appropriate talent should treat the appropriate level of disease. And preventive health. I mean, prevention is better than cure. Everybody of us keeps saying from the childhood. So this is where it starts. So proper vaccination, proper nutrition, monitoring of growth. So it is a very complex subject. In biology, 1 + 1 need not be 2. It's a very complex interaction of different factors which we have to consider.
Okay.
And we have to attack this problem from all these sides in a way, because ultimately the weakest link will determine the strength of the health chain. So we have to ensure that all these links are strengthened together so that India is in a better position to provide a better
Okay.
healthcare to its citizens.
Okay, definitely. All elements in that particular chain have to be strengthened, as Dr. Gedam is pointing out. Mr. Khanna, I'd like to bring you in here again because in your previous response, in your first response, you spoke about how there are areas which need to be focused upon, and obviously the industry's expectations in terms of what the government can do through policy measures. The question here is, what is it that the industry can do here, the private sector can do in terms of addressing all these challenges which all three of you are pointing out, and it's clear that it has to be a sort of an holistic approach out there with all stakeholders moving together. Mr. Khanna, can you hear me, sir?
So, Mr. Dharia,
Can you hear me,
based
sir,
on,
now?
what I heard, what you said is what private sector can do. Let me first say one thing that I agree with Dr. Gadam on most of the things, and of course, preventive health. I think preventive health is something which we all know. I mean, we've always said that health is better, health is wealth. But last year we realized that when it hit the economy, it hit all of us. We understood the importance of health issues in the country. So now, having said that, I think private sector can play a major role. One, in doing the education of the community around it. So today, all the hospitals are places where we treat the sick people. So it is a place for illness. But I think at some point in time, what the government has talked about 150,000 of wellness centers, maybe some portion of the private sector can also take that role of becoming the community wellness organization, which will also treat this, but also do education and communicate to the community about the importance of preventive health. That's one aspect. Second aspect, I think, is the the partnership, the spirit of partnership which we saw last year between the government, private, and all the stakeholders of the ecosystem, whether it was labs, whether it was NGOs, whether it was government, press, everybody. So I think that spirit of collaboration needs to continue, because alone we cannot take care of the healthcare needs of the masses. So together we have to do. That's the second point.
Okay.
The third point, I would like to just say that insurance sector, the private sector in its own capacity. Now, when we look at the insurance, and of course we know that we have PMJY, which is a brilliant scheme, and we still have more than 50% people left who are not covered. Now, if private sector can make it mandatory for all the people, whether they are organized workers, unorganized workers, the way we have PF, if they have a mandatory insurance.
Okay.
And I give this example that if we buy a vehicle today, it is a mandatory insurance. But if a person is there, there is no mandatory insurance. So I think that disparity can be corrected if there is some regulation which says it doesn't matter whether you do 1 rupee or 1,000 rupees. But
Okay.
if you put that money on a regular basis into your insurance account since you are born,
Okay.
you will have a huge insurance. So it's a long-term solution.
Okay.
The third thing I want to say is that the technology is now giving a lot of data to us. So private sector can really take the lead in doing the analysis, the data analysis, and evaluate the technology and see how technology can be reached to the tier 3, tier 4 towns, rural areas. And if the government, and our request to government will always be, I know you showed the graph of increasing public expenditure every year.
Definitely.
But I think now is the time we need to do a quantum leap. I mean, we are talking of desirable 4.5% in a few years. Now, for that, from 1.4 to 1.6, I think it is not enough. Like Dr. Reddy said, we have to do a lot of expenditure upfront. So
Okay.
I think private sector will be willing and happy to be partner with government and do whatever is needed to skill the India to the infrastructure, education, preventive, and use of technology.
Okay, definitely. That is indeed the spirit there, and that is what is required in terms of all stakeholders working together in the private sector, working hand in hand with the government as well. Now, we're running short of time, but let me have a quick concluding comments from Professor Reddy as well. Professor Reddy, from your perspective, the road ahead from here onwards and the key focus areas, quickly, if you could sum up for us in, say, around 30-45 seconds.
Well, firstly, we must also recognize that there are a lot of disparities between the states, and we need to correct them also. We just do not have to look at India as one whole, but the number of states which have weak health systems need a great deal of attention and much more of resources to be allocated from within themselves and also with central support. And then we ought to bring together all the segments of our society, the public sector, the private sector, and the voluntary sector together into a unified framework of universal health coverage, which can deliver the entire set of services which are fully available across the country, affordable, appropriate in terms of the context, and assured quality. And this requires every sector to work together.
Okay, definitely sort of a unified approach there, as all of you are pointing out. Thank you so much, Professor Reddy, Mr. Gautam Khanna, as well as Dr. Praveen Gedam for sharing your views here and suggestions coming in there from all the guests. Clearly looking at one particular approach, and that is a concerted, unified approach and holistic approach towards addressing those challenges, those roadblocks which are there before in achieving the goal of affordable healthcare. And as our panelists were also pointing out, it requires both the private sector and the government to move hand in hand with each other, increase the expenditure on obviously the healthcare sector, and also address the problems in the linkages when we are looking at the primary, secondary and tertiary healthcare approaches out there. We'll come back again with a different aspect to be focused upon as far as India is concerned, wherein resetting, reanalyzing, restructuring is required. Till then, you keep watching Rajya Sabha Television.